Now we're going to bring in Dr. Doom, Richard Stiennon, our
Uh,
cybersecurity expert. I've known Richard forever. We co-authored a book 10 years ago together. Didn't sell much, but it was
was
a
it
lot of
was it
fun writing it,
was it
right?
just 10 years, Mike? Or was it
Yeah,
more than 10 years?
2011. I guess we're already at 13. Yeah, I guess 12 years ago. Anyway, point being is we wanted to get him back on the show. We try to get him on the show every month or so to update the latest cyber threats. And one of them actually that he proposed today that I saw it is in his. I always ask people for what do you want to talk about. It's this new ChatGPT, which he thinks is good and bad. So take it away, Richard.
Yeah, like most things on the internet, right? It could be either
Yes.
Yeah.
one.
Well, if it's on the internet, it has to be true, right? So
Okay.
Well, I want to start by apologizing for not having the energy level of Danielle. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but I am super excited about ChatGPT, and more than ChatGPT, which served to raise awareness for everybody of the power of a large language model properly applied. They actually launched it at OpenAI, launched it, I believe, last November, but for some reason in the version that came out earlier in January, it just took off. Now has 100 million people using it.
Oh my God.
It's the fastest growing anything on the internet in history, faster than Instagram, WhatsApp, anything.
And it's a pretty good writer. That's the scary thing.
It's a really good writer.
There's a guy I follow on Twitter. He's a professor in Virginia of English. His name's Lee Papa, but online he goes by the Rude Pundit, and he is very rude. With his professor's hat on, he had Chat GPT. He gave it an assignment to write a personal memoir of a tragedy in 500 words or less, and it totally out of nowhere it came up with this recollection of a father watching one of his kids die in an amusement park accident. And it was good, like it would get an A minus or a B in freshman composition in college. It was
Sure.
scary how good it was.
Yeah. And the thing that impresses me is it returns grammatically correct English.
Hmm.
No goofs or misspellings or anything. It's like it's been through Grammarly a couple of times. um, and from the cybersecurity perspective, of course, I'm using it for the platform we have, right? I need just summaries of 3,000 different companies. I can't do that. It takes me 45 minutes of thinking and all this. It took 150 hours total for the GPT engine. We don't go through Chat GPT. We go right through an API. But it took 150 hours to write those 3,000 while it was also extracting all the investment data and product data and writing product descriptions. There's more work than I could have done in 2 years. So
Hmm.
it's pretty phenomenal
Wow.
at a good price. Now, that's the good side. And the good side is huge. I can't, Mike, you remember I'm sure I'm sure you do too, Matt, the halcyon days of the invention of the internet, right? Especially when, people like you and I became aware of it. It just changed our lives. It just,
Mhm.
all of a sudden, and we were early adapters, right? And we were, either
I was
covering,
a technology writer at the Free Press in 1995.
yeah.
So
So you
Well, it
saw
was,
that coming, and
yeah, and I started out at Cranes in 97. So yeah, right. Yep.
and I launched RustNet in '92. And people thought I was just doing one more crazy Stiennon, entrepreneurial thing. And within 18 months, everybody knew what the internet was, and
Hmm.
people on shows or still funny recordings were talking about this new interweb thing. And obviously, it had fantastic impact on the world, right? And some was good and some was bad. And Chat GPT is the same thing. The good, I believe, will outweigh the bad, at least in the short term. And it's just going to open up new business opportunities. So anybody listening who's been a doubter or sitting on the sidelines, jump in now. You'll be ahead of a billion people who are going to get into it over the next few years in some way. The bad side is that it's such a good writer that it's really good at writing phishing emails.
Hmm.
So the attackers can give it, some guidelines, and boom, it'll create a persuasive phishing email, a persuasive cold sales email, which salesperson thinks that's a good thing, but we as recipients think, wow, that's horrible. I'm going to get these really persuasive emails, and I'm going to click on stuff either for a sales offer, or I'm going to succumb to a phishing attack
or something bad, right?
Yeah. Now, the amazing thing about ChatGPT is you can ask it coding questions. So even if you're like me, right? It's my last coding experience was in college when I was coding in Fortran. But you still, if you get the gist of it, you can say, write me a Python script to extract this from a spreadsheet. It'll do it. It'll give you almost perfect, line of script you can use. But you can easily see if it made a mistake. It should have had a comma or a semicolon in it, and off it goes, and it works. And people are using that to just jumpstart and accelerate their coding. And you can ask it some really complicated questions. You can say, write me a script to do this. Now put it in my GitHub repository and wrap it in a container that I can deploy to the cloud, and give me all the scripts to do that. There's a single button push. You can do that.
Scary.
Wow.
Yeah, and the phishing emails that I typically get, although I probably won't be getting much of those anymore, there's a lot of bad grammar and misspelling. You can tell it's not a native English speaker. It's a dead giveaway, but now not anymore, right?
Yeah. Though I once sat in on a meeting where somebody was there from Nigeria, and he got up and explained, because his college roommate was the king of spam and scams. And that guy explained to him that they did that on purpose, because the people who respond to poorly written emails that are obviously spam are the most gullible and are likely targets. So that they're filtering out the smart people and just going after, the elderly, and people who just go, wow, I won $4 million. I need that.
But first you have to send me $400 for me to process it, so.
Yeah.
I got better than that. I got one the other day where I get $1 million for $50. So,
what a deal.
Yeah.
And you didn't do it, man. I can get $780 million by buying a $2 lottery ticket today.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. At least there's a chance of that actually happening, however
That's true.
remote.
That's true.
Well, we hope it's legit anyway, right?
Yeah. And if it's not, it goes to a good cause, supposedly.
Yeah, the schools get all the money.
Right. Well, and what that strikes me too is it's yet another reason not to fill out those little Facebook quizzes where you disclose where you went on your honeymoon or how many states you visited or that kind of thing, because someone could take that information and feed it into ChatGPT and send you something intensely personalized.
Yeah. Yep. Oh my gosh, good one. I hope nobody's listening to this.
No. We'll bleep that part out, though.
Yeah, okay. Do that. Yeah.
Cut that out so that no ideas for the bad people out there. So, speaking of bad people, another one that you mentioned, well, I think the one that maybe folks would relate to more than what's going on with VMware, because that's more of an inside baseball thing, is just the amount of cyber attacks hitting poor little Ukraine right now, as if they didn't need more problems, right?
Yeah. And that started before February 24th, right? When Russia invaded
We're coming
Ukraine.
up on the 1-year anniversary, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Right.
And here, even I thought, and on this show, I thought that Russia would just plow through Ukraine and head to Poland, right? It seemed to be following the 1939 playbook. Obviously, Ukraine stood in the way and did a good job of stopping them, but there were DDoS attacks and attacks on infrastructure leading up to that. But according to one of their officials, there have been over 2,000 attacks on government servers via DDoS and, of course, critical infrastructure just over the last year. So, it's not the country shut down and a successful invasion, but it is just a continuous part of hybrid warfare that's going on. So lesson, and I'm sure every military in the world is watching very carefully.
Well, it's as a student of history, it's almost like the Spanish Civil War all over again, where all the great powers tested their weapons in little Spain, and then once they figured them out and perfected them, they unleashed it on the rest of the world. In my mind, anyway.
Great point. Another parallel is the number of volunteers that have gone to Ukraine to help fight
sure.
on their side. Hemingway, and it seems like everybody in the arts world headed out to Spain.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So interesting times that we live in, for sure.
That's for sure.
So how's your book doing? The latest one? Oh, you got a copy of that you could raise up and show the audience?
Well, I don't know if you even know about the latest one. It's actually this one.
Ah.
So Net Zeros and Ones. It's how data erasure supports sustainability, privacy, and security. So it's a niche of the cybersecurity world, but it means when you want to get rid of your data, how do you do it? And
you mean I can't just hit delete and it's gone forever?
No, as a matter of fact, you hit delete and it's still there.
Okay.
Just makes it hard to find. Even if you empty your trash bin, the data's still there. It's just the pointers to the files are gone. So you have to go in and overwrite the disk. And some people overwrite it several times. There were some old specs back when the magnetized portion of a disk was about that big. Now it's micrometers across, and it's all you need to do is overwrite it once. But you used to be able to read a disk even after it was overwritten. So that book's doing very well. Just sold the rights to China to produce it in Chinese.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the other way you can get rid of data is to throw the drive in a microwave for 10 seconds. But
don't do that.
Okay.
I learned that out too. That's a horrible idea.
Yeah, it caused a lot of sparks and probably destroyed the microwave as well.
Well, I saw it on Mr. Robot once, so I had to bring it up.
Yeah.
So.
There is a chapter on how not to erase data, and the best one I heard was an anecdote from a guy who was in South America somewhere, and he came out of the office building he was in, and somebody was setting up a barbecue across the parking lot, and everybody's coming out. So he walked over thinking he'd get some great street food. No, it was a data erasure company, and people were bringing their hard drives out and cooking them on the grill.
Oh my God.
Just not an eco-friendly, sustainable thing to do. Don't do that.
Yeah, the fumes from that would be incredible, I would think.
Yeah.
All right. So if people want to get that book or all those books that you have, how do they do that, Richard?
Yeah, the best way is to track me down on LinkedIn and just follow me on LinkedIn, and I'll put you in this massive funnel for influencing you to follow me, respond to my stuff, or buy my stuff.